Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, for creating the beam material, it's actually just drop in a ground plane for this, and just change the colour of that to something like that. And also what we're going to do is, no, we won't drop in a light actually, we'll just leave it like that. So when it comes to creating the material then, if we just load up the material editor. Now Max has a really nice material for this, and well, first of all we just drop in a standard material, and then if we come down to our maps tabs, into fuse colour, if you just drop in a particle age node. Now this is really useful because what this will do, it'll change the colour, or actually you can change the opacity as well, depending on the age of the particle. So we can have it start off like white, where it's really kind of bright, go to blue, and then fade out to invisible. So let's just try that. Let's try dropping white into colour 1, then we'll drop blue into colour 2, and then in colour 3 we'll just put like a dark blue. So another thing I'm going to do, by the way, if I hold Control and press C in my perspective viewport, I will actually make that into a camera, and now I can always render from this view basically for testing. So, and I'm going to make this view up here into another perspective view. So this is my perspective view from now on, and this one is my kind of render view. Okay, so come over to Modify and select your particle system, go back to particle view, and in material dynamic, if you drag this material into the None tab, make sure it's an instance, and there is a way to actually get it to display in the viewport. I don't think it is this show in viewport thing. I think you need to make sure that this material dynamic is in the right place. Oh, that's it. You see how if I have it below shape it doesn't display it, but if I have it above shape it will display. Obviously remember to make this actually visible. So now if we just render this, so I'll just hit F9 on the keyboard, you'll see I've now got white to light blue to dark blue. Now what you might want to do in your colour is actually change these percentages. So I'm going to put this blue at like 30%, like so. Then I might actually just paste this straight into here. So if we hit render again, you can see it starts off white and goes to blue. In fact, I might just change this to like a slightly and a light blue. Okay, so there's the start of the trail. Okay, so the next thing we'll want to change is the actual opacity as well. So in the opacity tab we're going to drop another particle age, and obviously when it gets to 100% we want that to actually vanish. Maybe this one will be like a semi-grey and this one will be white. So now it's going to start off white here and then go to grey, so white is completely visible, grey is becoming see-through, and then black to invisible. So actually what we might want is that to appear very early on, so it's completely visible up until about there, and then it's translucent and then invisible. So let's just try that now. So there you go, you can see at the end now it's starting to vanish, which is exactly kind of what we want. So again we could tweak this, we could put this a bit earlier, let's try it on say 80%. There we go. You can make this a bit darker. So that trail starts to really kind of peter out. Okay, so the next thing we want to try then is creating the actual glow kind of around this trail. So also you might want, let's just change this a little bit. A bit more testing on this. There we go, that's looking a bit better. So I think the next thing we'll do is try and do the glow then. So the first thing we want to do is actually set this to mental ray. So come over to rendering, render setup, and in our assign renderer we'll assign mental ray. Then we'll just hit render to make sure that hasn't changed any of our settings. No, still okay. And then the next thing we'll do is, so I'll just undo that. So I just tested to make sure it worked, so I paused the video. So the next thing we'll do is tick on the self-illumination node, and in our None tab, scroll down in your maps till the mental ray glow node and hit OK. And then we'll change the colour of the glow to be a kind of bluey glow there. And also in your render setup you must make sure you enable, in the renderer tab, make sure you enable output glare, so this will render the glow for us. So this is what your material should look like then. You've got diffuse, your particle age, self-illumination, glow, and opacity. You've got a particle age as well. So if we hit render again, you see now we're actually starting to get a glow on this material. So if we come into our glow settings, we can actually do things that, if I increase the power, just to show you here, so you can actually have it a bit stronger. So if we increase this really high, okay, we'll just decrease that, we'll try that again, get there eventually. Don't think I like it very much. So we might need to try a different material. Like I said, we do have something reasonably nice going on here, but what I want is some actual kind of glow around it as well. So I'm wondering if I'm going to drag this glow into this slot here, and then what I'm going to try doing is coming into my particle age and dropping this into colour 1, colour 2 and colour 3. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, that was the issue with it. This is going to be a bit mental. So we've got massively exaggerated glow here. So what we'll do is we'll set our glow in colour 1 here. So we'll keep this light blue because that's what we wanted. We'll put the glow down to about 10 to start with. And we'll turn those two off for now and just hit render because we're going to set those separately. So we're going to get this first glow right and then we'll set the other two. Okay, so it's not looking too bad. We'll try increasing it down to about 8. And then the second one here, we'll have to click in it and then select another glow because it's an instance at the moment. Hard old map. And if I just go up to parent, I'm going to copy this blue and paste this into here. and then maybe put this to about 5. And then the last one, to make sure you took that back on, and this last one I might just try it with nothing in to start with, so we'll just leave it ticked off. So let's try rendering that again. Okay, so that's looking pretty good now. We've got our glow from behind our car. We've got a nice one here, less bright one here, and none here. So let's just do a bit of testing. We'll try increasing the glow there for that blue. There we go, so we've got a bit more on the blue. We'll also try bringing this one in a bit earlier so that so this glow is less extreme here. There we go, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll put it down even further to like 5, let's see how that looks. I'll probably leave it on 10. Right, okay, so the last thing I want to show you then is, at the moment the glow's looking quite good, but obviously everything else is looking pretty bad. So let's just change a few settings to get this looking okay, and I just want to show you about excluding lights from particles to save render time. So if I come to rendering environment, let's give our environment a kind of just off blue colour. So now if you render, you'll see obviously you get the kind of light blue sky colour. Then if we come over to lights and go to standard, let's just drop in a skylight. We'll put that down to about 0.3. Then we'll also drop in an area spotlight. Kind of act as a sun. But I'm just going to come in my modify tab, and with the spotlight selected, I'm going to just overshoot the cone on this. Now if we try and hit render now, I'm just going to save this because this might crash. Let's hit render. You'll notice how the render time is significantly increased for the particle effect, and also our particle effect has changed because it's actually being kind of affected by those lights. So what you can do, if you select a light, come to the Exclude tab and just select the PF sources and put them in. So I selected them and hit this little tab here, and that will exclude them from illumination and shadow casting. Then you'll get the kind of look that we had before and that we were happy with. So if you are going to kind of use this technique, I do suggest that you do that. And also make sure your light rig is set up so you can actually test the particles in the right kind of light situation. Okay, so all that will be left to do now then is to actually render this out. So let's have a look at it from one of these early frames. We've got that trail coming out the back there. Okay, so that's how you create a trail that will follow the back of your Wipeout vehicle.